If your inner critic is louder than it should be, this video is for you. Today, I want to talk about negative self-talk. Automatic thoughts like, I'm not good enough for this promotion, or others are more successful than I am. If we haven't met yet, I'm Izabela Lushinska. I've spent the last 20 years coaching leaders to be confident, respected, and promoted. And the topic of negative self-thoughts comes up in almost every coaching assignment I have. I want to address this in this channel because this internal critic causes real damage. It feeds your self-doubt, and that doubt makes you hesitate when you should speak, over-explain when the clear message would be better, and makes you shrink in exactly the conversations where your career gets decided. In this video, you will learn to recognize the most common negative thought patterns, including the funny acronym psychologists gave them, and I will give you 3 practical ways to handle them before they do any damage. Let's start with the acronym because the name alone tells you half of what you need to know. Psychologists call these thoughts automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs for short. And the name fits. They are small, they arrive uninvited, and when there is one, there are always more. I think the most important word in that name is automatic, because you don't decide to think, I'm not ready for this role. This thought arrives uninvited, fully formed, and sounding exactly like the truth. Notice the word truth. These thoughts don't announce themselves as opinions. They present as facts, and a brain under pressure rarely stops to check the sources. You'd think the more senior or accomplished you are, the less you'd be sensitive to ants' attacks. But no. It gets even worse with seniority, even though logically it should get better. I think there are 3 reasons for it. The stakes rise, so every thought carries more weight. The feedback thins out. Nobody tells a director you did great the way they told the new hire. And the comparison pool sharpens. You're no longer measuring yourself against the average. You're measuring yourself against the most polished people at the table. So more ambiguity, less reassurance, tougher comparisons. That is perfect breeding ground for ants. It's also why so many accomplished people privately search imposter syndrome late at night. Here's what I want you to understand about it. Impostor syndrome is, at its core, a colony of ants that moved in and never left. That feeling of being a fraud is not information about your competence, but the same automatic thoughts repeating so often that they start to feel like your identity. And paradoxically, that's good news. It means you don't need to fix who you are, just to interrupt a thought habit. Why I care about this as an executive coach is this. This private thought habit leaks into your behavior. A leader who is silently mind-reading the CEO's frown starts getting insecure and starts over-explaining. A leader who is quietly predicting a failed pitch starts hedging every second sentence. A leader comparing herself to the strongest presenter in the company starts rehearsing so hard she stops being authentic. And while the thought stays private, the behavior doesn't. People can't hear your inner voice, but they can see what it makes you do. That's how a thinking habit becomes a reputation. So let's talk now about the 4 patterns you should watch for. Ants come in recognizable shapes, and that's a good thing. Because once you know the shapes, you can spot them, and then you can catch them. 4 types show up constantly in the leaders I work with. Mind reading is the first one. You assign thoughts to other people without evidence. You might think, the CFO checked his phone during my update. He thinks this is a waste of his time. And maybe you're right, but maybe he's dealing with a serious family situation. You don't know, but your brain filed it as a verdict on your performance. Fortune telling is another. You predict an outcome and then react to the prediction as if it already happened. If I push back on this deadline, I'll be labeled difficult. In reality, you haven't pushed back, but you've already suffered the consequences. Unfair comparison is the third one. You compare yourself to the best of the best and come out worse. This might sound like this. Everyone at this level presents effortlessly. I'm the only one rehearsing in the car. I can tell you from the years of coaching senior people, the car park before a big meeting is a very busy place. All or nothing is the last one. One imperfect moment cancels the whole performance. This might sound like this. That answer wasn't sharp. The entire meeting was a failure. One sentence out of 40, and all the 40 are gone to bin in your head. I hope you noticed something about all four. Not one of them is based on evidence. They are predictions, assumptions, and judgments delivered in the tone of established facts. Now, with real ants, you'd reach for a quick fix, usually an ant spray. With these, that doesn't work. You can't spray a thought, and trust me, people try. They suppress, they distract, they pour themselves a glass of wine. But these methods don't work, and the thoughts come back. What works instead are 3 moves. Catch it, name it, challenge it. The difficulty is that ants are fast and you are busy. So don't listen for the thought first. Feel for the signal. A tightening chest, heat in your face, the sudden urge to check your notes one last time. Your body registers the ant before your conscious mind does. When you feel the signal, ask one question. What did I just tell myself? There's usually one sentence. Find it. Then in the second step, name it. Say the pattern to yourself. That's mind reading. That's fortune telling. The moment you name a thought, you stop being incited and start looking at it. A thought you are inside of controls you. A thought you're looking at is just information, and in this case, bad information. Once you've named it, you can challenge it. And here I will give you a pro tip. Do not challenge with affirmations. If the thought is, I'm not ready for this, answering with, I'm a confident, powerful leader, changes nothing because your brain doesn't believe you. It's a courtroom in there. And in the courtroom, you need evidence. So challenge it with evidence. Say, I was asked to present this because I know it better than anyone in the team. Or I was promoted into this role for a reason. One mistake doesn't cancel this. Keep it short, factual, and in your own voice. Evidence beats fake optimism every single time. The best way to deal with ants is to take away their food supply. And these 3 things you've just learned, catch, name, and challenge, do this with the ants in your head. But if the ants keep arriving in swarms, look at the ground they are breeding on. 2 things can help. A short mindfulness practice, 10 minutes is fine, because mindfulness trains the exact muscle that the catch method depends on, noticing a thought instead of becoming it. And self-compassion is the other one. And I know self-compassion sounds soft until you consider the alternative. Leaders who speak to themselves in a tone they would never tolerate towards a member of the team. You can hardly build steady authority on the outside while running a hostile regime on the inside, can you? Sooner or later, the inside wins. Negative self-talk is only one of imposter syndrome's tools. Perfectionism and procrastination are the others. I cover all 3 in my guide, Outsmart the Imposter Syndrome. The link is below. And if you caught yourself in the over-explaining example earlier, I have a full video on that as well. So, just to wrap up, next time your negative thoughts show up, do what you've learned in this video. Then come back and tell me in the comments which ant is the loudest in your case. I'm genuinely curious which pattern dominates in this audience, and I read every comment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.